Going out now.
Okay. Roger,
Yeah, hi, Rich. I hope you can
uh,
hear me.
oh yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you
Nice.
hear me well?
Sure, I can.
My place is a bit dark though, but
Is my background clear enough?
very. It won't be solid. I think it has to do with your PC though. I don't know if it's the lighting.
Is the light too? I
Uh,
think you're a bit far from the light source, so
yes, yes.
that's a the problem. I'm directly under the light source. So
Oh, okay, okay. At least you can see me small. I hope.
oh yeah, sure, I can see.
I think this the chat space here is for us, so if anything, I think we can use it.
Okay, sure. That's fine.
So you ready? Can we move?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Well, good evening, Mr. Roger.
Hi, good evening.
Give me some few seconds. Oh, good evening once again. So, welcome to World Social Podcast. So, as part of the GIS Day 2021, we decided to bring together a couple of geospatial practitioners or professionals who have been in the industry for a while now and are making a difference in the geospatial space. And so, luckily for us, we were able to get in touch with you and then you gracefully granted us our request for us to have this conversation. So, there are just a few questions and then interactions that will go on with you. So, we basically have about an hour to go through all that. So, I want us to jump right in. So, Mr. Roger, before we set the ball rolling, can you tell us a bit about yourself? For those of us who don't know you, like maybe just for them to get to know at least who you are.
Okay, so thank you, Richmond, and again, thanks for the opportunity to be part
Well,
of this very important engagement. So I'll start with, I mean, as the name already is displayed. I'm Roger Kayumba. That's
Right.
my name. Um, so um, I hail from the uh, both the Volta region and Greater Accra region. Uh, so then my surname looks a bit non-Ghanaian. Uh,
Right.
a lot of people think I'm a Northerner, but I'm not a Northerner. So
Oh,
my dad is actually from Rwanda. So I'm both Rwandese and Ghanaian. All right.
oh,
So
I see.
my mom's side is from the Volta region, and then my dad is Rwandese. Yeah. So
But I have to start,
hence the name.
right. So, in terms of your education, can you give us a brief about how far you've come so far?
Yeah. So in terms of education, I think I'll just fast forward everything for you guys. So starting with my secondary school education, where everything started becoming very clear for me in terms of my career path.
Right.
So I I happened to take the science with technical drawing option. So there is an option where you do science, but you combine it with technical drawing. Okay. So can you give me a moment?
Sure.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
There was a bit of background noise. I don't know where that was coming from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So with my secondary school, I actually pursued science with technical drawing. So there's the option where you can do science and then opt for either geography or biology. All right.
Yeah.
So I went with technical drawing, and the reasoning behind that was in my junior high school, I was very good in technical drawing. I had no
I see.
struggles with technical drawing at all. So and I was also good in maths.
Yeah.
So then the only part I could see was going with science with technical drawings. I actually went to a technical school, and
Okay.
I had always wanted to do an engineering program. So that was even since junior high school.
Hmm.
Always wanted to do an engineering program. So at secondary school, I actually had the opportunity to explore the options that are available, especially in the engineering options. So looking at the options, I fell between civil engineering and geodetic engineering. And the reasoning was definitely there was going to be a lot of drawings that were going to be done, a lot of you'll be visualizing either buildings or landed assets, and there'll be a lot of drawings there. So my affinity was gearing towards that part. So right after secondary school, I had opportunity to pursue geomatic engineering at KNUST.
Interesting.
Yeah. So at KNUST, it was a good learning experience. I had no geography background, but
Oh, okay.
uh, with the understanding of, because I mean, at the end of the day, you would have to draw maps and all, and so you would have to have an idea of geometry. You would have to have an idea of orientation. So it was an easy part for me to fit in. Look, having that background in ample ability to draw and all. So uh, I ended up doing dramatic engineering, and luckily to again because of that ability, I managed to also double up as um, into architectural visualizations, architectural works as well. So not just in land surveying, not just in GIS, but also in architectural works. So as we currently speak, I actually double as um, I do architectural works as well, but that
Oh,
is
really?
usually private side. Yes,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. So I mean, in terms of education, that is basically the pathway. what led to me deciding to do that course, and this is where I am now.
Wow, quite a journey.
Yeah,
From science with the drawing with the, I mean, it, it come quite far now. And
yeah,
it's done really well, I must say. Well, so if, I mean, if you wanted to do the engineering, uh, why why not proceed with the engineering? Why the GIS? When did the GIS aspect come in?
yeah. So I mean, earlier, I mean, joining the geodetic engineering program, I mean, it's very broad. You will be exposed to land surveying, you'll be exposed to a bit of civil engineering works, and even a bit of architectural works as well, project management, even quantity surveying. Okay, so you had a lot of options to touch upon. Equally GIS. Okay, so I I saw the potential in GIS, and this is why I said I saw the potential. Um, GIS, as it was exposed to me,
Yeah,
was a mix of IT and a mix of geography.
right.
Right, that was how I perceived GIS once it was exposed to me, and also understanding the growth part of IT. Okay, the exponential growth of IT, and understanding that IT is going to one day dominate and really be a thing that really runs the world. Um, I really found that attachment to it. Okay, and equally, I'm the type who loves to explore a lot of applications. If there's a new application, there's a new programming language, I would love to explore.
Yeah.
Okay, I also had that natural affinity, especially when it came to software, to equally explore a lot of applications. And
Okay.
so you see that there was a good marriage between my
Very.
love for drawing, my love for exploring software, and wanting to be part of that era that runs things. All right. So then that's what really drew me towards GIS. And fascinating to me is GIS really gives you the ability to visualize things on a wider scale or on a global scale. All right, so we usually play around with data a lot. We are either plotting charts, plotting graphs, plotting pie charts, but a lot of times we cannot really visualize what this data really means, how this data really relates to real world interpretations. So that GIS actually offers you that part, and that's really what attracted me to GIS.
Okay, that is good. That is good. And I believe you've not regretted pursuing GIS.
Come again with that question.
I said I believe you've not regretted pursuing GIS when you saw.
Not at all. I have no regrets whatsoever. I have no regrets whatsoever. I mean, it's fun. It's really fun. It's been fun right from inception. I mean, right from when I actually did or actually run through my project work. Through now, even as we speak, with a new project I'm even engaged on, it's been a fun experience. Always a learning experience, something new, a lot more challenges to really solve, a lot more problems to solve, and no regrets whatsoever.
That is good. So, aside you working 24/7, doing your architectural stuff, doing your GIS, doing your computing and software and all that, what do you do? What's your hobby aside work or aside?
Oh, so well, with hobbies, uh, I would say with hobbies, I still stick to the computer though. But then this time, I enjoy a lot more computer games. So um, you will see me playing all the new games that there are, video games that there are. So from the arcade games to the Call of Duties, and the need for speeds and all that. That is what really
Oh,
keeps me uh, um, gives me that leisure time.
yeah.
I also love to really hang out with friends and loved ones, family, loved one, friends. Um, Once a while, we just step out there, have a good time. And out of work duties, this is what I do.
That is cool. I mean, blending family with the games and all that. I mean, I know not everyone can combine work with family and all that. So I believe you are doing great for yourself there.
Mm.
Now, let's let's dive in. Now, with your GIS career path, where did you start from? How did you enter into the job force? Because I know mostly people do GIS after school, they want to pursue or do further things about GIS. But in our country, say Ghana, for instance, it's hard to get into a GIS field in the job market. Who
Yeah,
always think that. Now, how? I mean, so tell us how you're able to enter and how you're able to sustain throughout to date.
yeah. So I mean, I was I won't say lucky, but I was very privileged. I will use the word privileged, not lucky, to be offered the opportunity to intern and actually have my national service with one of Ghana's top geospatial firms, which is Sambus Geospatial Limited.
Okay,
And there's a background story to that, which I would actually put before the house. And
that'll be
uh,
good.
before doing my service, actually, I was actually giving a posting to I think they called it, I don't know if it's still available, but they called it traffic something. So there was a time when National Service decided to put people out there to direct traffic. I don't know if it's still.
Yes, they still do. Yes,
So
some.
it's the year I started National Service. That's when they implemented that,
Oh,
and I
okay.
was actually posted to do that. I was actually posted to do that. Yeah. So I I managed to talk things out with my supervisor in school, and he actually opened the opportunity for me to be accepted in Sambo's Geospatial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, once I had it, a lot of people were saying I should just go through it.
Yeah,
Just 1 year to be over. You can always
yeah.
get another job. But I had a feeling that once you start anything at national service, it becomes your path.
Right,
It
right.
becomes your path, your career path. You understand? I always had that understanding. So I told myself, if I don't get that changed, I'm not doing my national service that year. I would wait and do the next year. That was that firm decision I took.
Yeah,
I took that firm decision and I told myself that. So I did everything possible. I contacted friends. I contacted some of my bosses I had interned, a lot of companies I have interned with. And
yeah.
finally, I contacted my supervisor and he managed to pull that through for me. So I would say I was privileged to actually have been accepted by Sandwich Special. And the learning experience there was amazing. And it's where actually my love for GI is actually grew the more. And working with Sambus, it means you are exposed to Esri's platform. And
Yeah,
I mean, we all know Esri is the top notch GIS provider. And so, I mean, exposed to world class GIS software, also exposed to a number of projects which cut across various industries. Uh, I mean, it was that was the holy grail actually, and it was a stepping stone for my career. Okay, so after service, I got accepted into Sambus, and on. I find myself here today. So, in terms of my career directions, Sambus was my first company
yeah.
where I progressed. So I started as a GIS technician, was promoted to a GIS analyst, then promoted to head the technical department. So that was the part for me at Sambu Geospatial. And then after Sambu Geospatial, I joined an NGO, Rainforest Alliance. So I was with them for close to just 4 months, where I actually initiated a project that they had. So there was a project they had which was focused on developing a monitoring system for farmers, which had some GIS input to it.
Yeah,
I managed to initiate that project, and I had another opportunity with Deloitte and Touche, and I took the opportunity. So that's basically my career path as we stand.
I see. I mean, so now let me take you back to Sambus. How long were you at Sambus?
With Sambos, I actually I can say up to 20. So let's say about 4 years, five, yeah, 5 years actually. So I was actually 5 years with Sambos Geospatial.
That is, I mean, that is great. Let me say because when you started with Sambus, you were promoted from the entry to the analyst to I think about 4 times within the 5 year period.
Oh, so
So
it's actually 3 times. So it's my role as a national service was a GIS technician. So I was just supporting a lot of the GIS activities. I wasn't really leading or initiating or developing a lot of models, developing a lot of apps or maps.
yeah.
I was just supporting here and there. So once the opportunity came for me to take on a higher role, it was offered to me, and I took on a lot more responsibility. So I actually progressed on 3 different levels at Sandwich Geospatial.
That is that's good. So now from Sambus, you said you went to Rainforest.
To
So
Rainforest Alliance, yeah.
Alliance, yes, and then you left there. So now where are you at?
So now I'm with Deloitte and Touche.
Oh, okay. And what do you do? What's your
So I mean, I'm actually part of a consulting team, and we do anything from um, human capital development down to technology, down to cloud implementation, um, down to um, organizational change management, management consulting. Yeah, so it cuts across different service lines. But the areas I focus on the more is around um, human capital and then technology.
so great? So we'd like to know how the GIS certain areas or some of the applications, how you apply GIS in your current work.
Yes, I mean it's still I still find myself in an environment which is consulting focused. So Sambus it was equally very consulting, a lot of consultancy work. So you are still doing high level project management, um, stakeholder engagement, developing proposals, um, implementing actual, developing the technology that is required by the client you're engaging with. Yeah, so I mean, structurally, those are the various work lines you would actually I'm actually engaged in. So it isn't too different from what the structure that we had at Campbell's Geospatial Limited. But this time it's a lot more focused on um, offering a lot more advisory support, a lot more consulting support to clients.
Okay. So before this session, right? Most of us For instance, I mean, particularly me. I heard you apply GIS in finance, so that was something that really, I mean, caught my attention. So I've been in GIS, the industry, for a while now. I mean, I won't say I'm a newbie though, but I haven't really heard, aside probably mapping of, say, financial institutions, I haven't really heard anyone apply GIS to finance, to any other, anything that has to do with accounting or finance. So
Yeah.
as part of what you do, yes. So I got a hint that it's something that once a while you do at your workplace. So I just wanted you to throw more light on that.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sure.
not sure, sure. So not directly with specific accounting or specific financial, but picture it to be a decision support for investment, a decision support for investment, a decision support for um, financial advisory, right? So picture it this way: there are a lot of investment firms out there who are constantly investing people's funds, all right, into different companies. They're either buying stocks, they're either buying bonds, they are either investing in different money markets, either buying forex and all that, all right. But now, for you to actually be in this space, you need to understand the market dynamics. And when I say market dynamics, what I basically mean is how how are companies innovating to actually solve a lot of problems. How what are the changes in terms of demand when it comes to the markets? So if it comes to services, if it comes to products, what are the demand trends and what are the changes in the demand trends? Okay. Now, as an investor, these are the things you have to really understand. All right. Now, when you scale this problem up to you investing in a lot of companies. So this is a conglomerate who is investing in, let's say, Anglo Gold Ashanti, investing in, let's say, Power Bank, investing in, let's say, Funmill, right? They're investing in different companies. Okay. So what it means is you have to constantly be at a position where you understand the state of the company you're investing in, you
Yeah.
understand the state of their operations, you understand the state of their finances in terms of their financial statements. Okay. So a classic example would be taking, say, a financial institution, a bank, for example. Okay, so say let's take any bank. I won't really mention names.
Okay.
Yeah, but say just take any
Yeah.
bank, all right, and the bank is listed on the stock market.
Yeah.
Okay, so what it means is people can willingly go and buy shares in the company, ownership in the company. All right. So now, as an investor, if you're able to understand how the bank will be able to beat its competition, how the bank will be able to attract a lot more clients, you'll be able to win in the market. You'll be able to know when is the best time to invest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
So drilling this problem down, you can actually go down as much as beginning to know what are the competition of these banks, what are the average transaction rates of each branch. Okay. And all these things now begin to form attributes information that could be pulled into a GIS. All right. So we know that the most basic component of the GIS now becomes location of their assets, location of their branches, location of their customers. All right. So when it comes to their assets, it could be ATMs, it could be their branches, it could be any real estate they own. All right. And if you take branches, we can now begin to tie the average transaction rates to the branches. We can begin to tie transactions to ATMs. Okay, so not just ATM points, but what are the constant transactions, the withdrawals people are making? How often are they making it? what are the peak times of withdrawals. Okay, now all these things become information that is attribute information that you can tie to the spatial locations of all these assets. All right. Now pull this into a GIS, slap on top some spatial statistics, some geostatistics. All right. What you can actually do now is to build a picture and then project into the future. All right. And anticipate maybe the bank expanding its branch into a new sector, into a new location, or anticipate the branch setting up a new ATM point, or maybe setting up a campaign, a market campaign, depending on the dynamics, depending on the demographics. All right. So, as an investor, if you're able to have information on this and understand this very well, you'll be able to know which bank is more stable, is more proactive, is more innovative. All right. And then this gives you information to be able to know which bank will be the best bank to invest in. All right. So this is just with banks, but you can scale this problem up to any financial assets. You can scale this up to even you investing in the mining industry. All right. So if you're investing in the mining industry, you can bring into this picture some remote sensing. Okay, and understand if you are, let's say, investing in any of the mining companies in Ghana. All right, bring in some remote sensing, try and understand how what are these mining companies doing to really mitigate maybe illegal mining or maybe disposal of mining waste. All right, so then you can bring in some remote sensing and do your own visualization, your own analysis. So if you're an investor who is focused on investing in companies that are focused in um, renewing the environment, keeping the environment safe, these are all tools and ways you can use to make your decision. So maybe there's a mining company in Prestia or there's a mining company in Takwa. You can compare these two with some remote sensing. Look at their mining concession, all right, and look at whether there are any illegalities around. Look at maybe the water bodies around this mining concession. And all these things become a way for you as an investor to make that informed decision. All right. So at the decision support side, GIS is actually supporting that for investors. Okay. Because now it's not enough to just be looking at financial statements of companies before you invest in them. If you have insight on all these dynamics, you're at an upper edge if you're an investor compared to just someone who has just understanding of financial statements. Okay. So I mean, I know it's a bit dicey and it's a bit um, not used to the normal fashion, but it's all about you really innovating. All right. So there's nothing too out of the blue here. It still ties down to your understanding of location, your understanding of attribute information, your understanding of databases, how to link these databases, your understanding of the tools and algorithms and what they mean and what you can actually use them for, the kind of deductions you want. Yeah. So I mean, in a nutshell, that's basically it. I know I've said a lot, but that is basically it. I think you're on mute, Richmond.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. So as we're saying, I mean I kept getting certain questions here, and I mean most people just want to understand, is it do they only have to focus on the GIS aspect, or they also, as you said earlier, they need to do other non-GIS stuff on the side before?
Definitely. I mean, it's a combination of several analytics, so several forms of analytics. Let me put it that way. Again, GIS is just a decision support tool. So it's not the final, yeah, saying maybe let's invest in a mining company, let's invest in a bank, or let's invest in a fast moving good company. So GIS is not the final say, but GIS is a linkage between those several analytics. Definitely, you cannot do without your financial statement, understanding your financial statement, understanding whether the company is making profit, understanding whether the company has enough assets to withstand
Yeah.
any fall in income in the future. Your financial statements are key, all right? But we are adding on another leg of analytics, which is GIS. And GIS is suited for companies that are engaged with assets, okay? And banks fit in very well. Fast moving goods companies like the Voltics, the Fan Milks, and the rest fit in very well because they are distributing products here and there. They are engaging with distributors. They are constantly engaging with distributors. So you can easily track these distributors. You can capture their locations, capture the number of products that are submitted to them.
Yeah.
You understand? So any company where you they are either dealing with a lot of assets or dealing with distribution, you can easily fit in the GIS component. And again, the GIS component just gives you an added advantage. All right. So again, picture two investors. One investor is fully focused on understanding the financial statements and how efficient the company is at the financial statement level. Another investor is looking not just at financial statements, but adding a lot more analytics, aka GIS. All right.
Definitely.
Definitely, that investor will be at an upper hand. The investor will have insights that nobody will see. You understand? So I mean, it's just a decision support tool and nothing more to it.
Okay. So far in your career, what would you say has been some of the challenges that you've come across?
Yeah. Challenges definitely data and lack of data, data not being properly organized and properly linked together. And the big problem here even starts with Ghana statistics. Ghana statistics has a lot of data, but you either end up getting the data in SPSS format and it is not even with the field headers, they're not properly organized. You have to now filter everything yourself. I mean, so data structuring and then um, data that is drilled down to the most minute level. Okay, so example
Mm.
would be we have data on districts, all right, and I'm sure the recently Ghana Statistics released I think the first set of data sets for the 2021 census. Okay, I'm here to see how that is organized. But since 2010, data that has been released hasn't been too GIS friendly. Okay, so a lot of times you have the data, but you have to do a lot of data cleaning, data structuring before you can make use of it in GIS. That's one of the big headaches. All right, and then another challenge is we I'll speak for Ghana because again, I've been across the region: Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Gambia, and I can say, even though Ghana is ahead of the game in terms of really the know-how, okay, so the know-how of GIS, the know-how of how GIS applies in many sectors, there is a lack of implementation. Okay, so there's a lot of theoretical understanding of what GIS is, the potential of GIS, but really implementing it at policy level, implementing it at even corporate level. All right, there's still that lack. Okay, and I think those are the big hurdles. Okay, so it takes a lot of effort to really drive some change, especially when it comes to organizations fusing GIS as a decision support tool. And those are the main challenges. So it's around data, availability of data, structuring of data, um, data that is drilled down to very minute level. Okay, so that is coming down to even community level or even town level. data, it's a challenge. And equally, there's still lack of that yearn or desire to really have GIS infused into a lot of operations at corporate levels. But equally, it offers an opportunity. Okay, it offers an opportunity for entrepreneurs. So if you are entrepreneurial and you would want to really explore the space of GIS as an entrepreneurial path, there's still a lot of opportunity, especially in the private sector. Okay, I can say the government sector, a number of them are actually exposed to GIS, but private sector is still very, very blank. It's still very blank. NGOs are actually using it a lot, but there's still a lot of work to be done, and so it offers an opportunity for entrepreneurs. Okay, and once you are innovative, once you can actually bring in some variety, and the word there is variety. A lot of times we drive GIS implementations and we are just looking at mapping, and we stay at mapping. Okay, we are not looking at how GIS is integrating with different systems. We are not looking at how GIS is really solving business problems. Okay, and if we're able to really hit those pain points, there's a lot of opportunity there.
That is very insightful. So has GIS been your main source of income?
No, 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 not really. I mean, again, I double as a real estate consultant. So construction, architectural design, yeah, so around these areas. So I mean, because I also have a background as a surveyor, I easily fit into the construction sector in terms of project management, and I offer consultancy on that end as well. So not just GIS, but I'm around the real estate industry as well. So anyone
So
who is interested in real estate, just feel free and contact me at the end of the session.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
So I believe if you are not done GIS, these are the works that you'll be doing.
Well, so I thought of that once, and I saw myself diverting a lot into construction, and it's true. Um, I I think to have I sense I have a lot of love for managing projects, especially construction projects, and really being on site and solving problems, helping the project engineers, masons, and all to really solve problems. It's just fun for me. So that is another area I would have actually ventured into if I didn't venture into GIS.
So that is that is great actually. So for someone to um, grasp or get a firm foundation in GIS, what are some of the skills or some of the key things that they need to be able
Yeah,
to um, upgrade or advance themselves?
yeah. So I mean, um, I've come to understand that you cannot run away from IT.
Okay.
So IT, what I mean is your understanding of databases, your understanding of networking, your
Yeah.
understanding of, um, I mean, a bit of programming language. Okay. So if you have a bit of all this, which are known to be a lot into the IT sector or IT field, if
Yeah.
you have an understanding of these areas, fuse that with your geography, fuse that with your surveying, and you are good to go. So the challenge, what I've seen, especially grooming a lot of uh, um, people who end up finishing school and they are interested in GIS. The challenge I've seen is yes, the love and passion to do GIS is there, but there's a lack of that understanding of I mean, those building blocks, databases, your understanding of how computers really work, networking, all right, and then a bit of programming. So not to be high level programming savvy, but at least you should be able to do some basic scripting. So if it is your SQL scripting, if it is your Python scripting, not high level, you building applications, you building systems. But once you can script, it's enough. Okay. Fuse that with your understanding of geography, fuse that with your understanding of surveying, and you will have an enjoyable career path in GIS.
That is. Thanks for the tip. So, those online, I believe you can send in your questions whilst we move along. I'll ask Mr. Roger for clarification, and then we can proceed. So, someone wants to ask, what are the key GIS areas you learned at Sambus?
Come again, come again.
What are some of the key areas that you learned, I mean, GIS stuff that you learned at Sambus?
So mainly mainly around networking. All right. So I'll start again with the building blocks. Now, I call them building blocks, and this is a reason. Someone would argue that GIS, what do I need networking for? All right.
Yeah.
Someone will argue GIS, what do I need databases for? And this is the reason. We are entering an era where it's really no longer about mapping. All right. So it's not about you being able to build a form that can collect data. It's no longer about you being able to create a map and print it as a PDF. All right. It's now about you building applications. Okay. And these applications should be able to address problems, should be able to um, reduce how much effort there is, okay, to perform some business operation. All
Yeah.
right. So maybe say you are digitizing, maybe for example, um, the process for registering lands. Okay. So maybe let's say you find yourself in lands commission or any area where you manage landed assets.
Yeah.
Okay. The usual thing you would have is you would request either surveyors to provide you with their site plans endorsed. Then you would have to review them, reply them. They will have to come for the endorsed site plans. If people have to search, you would have to go through a stack of documents to search for the legality of documents. All right. Now, if you take this business operation, you can digitize it, the whole thing from A to Z with GIS. All right. So yes, you'll be able to digitize the the maps. Yes, you'll be able to tie in your attribute information. But if you really want customers to be able to sit at home and do search remotely, networking has to come in. So it means that you would have to build maybe a web server. You would have to maybe build your databases on a server or either on the cloud, and then make this available 24/7. If you don't understand networking, you can't build this. Okay, I know there's teamwork. I know definitely somebody will be a networking specialist who will come on board to advise. But if you are the GIS person on board and you have an understanding of these things, it puts you at a different level. So you're not just talking to the GIS of things, but you're actually equally talking to the various components of the system. So you basically become more like a project manager for the whole project because you understand how the networking is happening, you understand how the database are also working, and you equally understand how the GIS is working. So yes, you will have database specialists coming on board, you would have networking guys coming on board, but because you understand these things, you can lead or drive the whole initiative. Okay, and really, if we really want to push, because I mean that's my view. If we really want to push GIS to a level where GIS is driving policy, GIS is really changing a lot of, I mean, at policy level, you have to be at that level where you understand not just GIS, you understand various components of what fuses to form a GIS. You understand components of the economy. You understand various components. You understand? So now, if you are talking to an audience, you are not just talking GIS, you are talking all these components and you're on top of the game. Okay. So, um, again, you don't need to be savvy in these areas, networking, databases, and then some software development. You don't need to be savvy, but just have an understanding of what goes into building these things. Okay, so maybe you see an application on the web that can capture a site plan and then automatically digitize it, and then it will create a GIS map for you. If you understand the processes behind all this, okay, it's enough. If you understand how somebody can connect his computer, type maybe a URL, and is able to connect to maybe a web application. If you understand all these series of steps, it's another advantage for you. Okay, so let's not just reduce or limit ourselves to the pure GIS things, ArcGIS, geodatabases, shape files, and all that. Let's try and expand our horizon, and we would see that we would be always be on at an higher edge over others. Yeah, Richmond, I think your mic is muted.
Yeah, so I was thanking you for the ideas, for a direction, I believe, and I've taken a lot of notes today.
Yeah.
So someone also wants to know, how has your transition been from Sambus to Deloitte? Has it been easy or a difficult transition?
Oh no, so it's nothing. Again, let's not really think it's some different area I find myself, but again, it's still within a consultancy space. Okay, but then this time you are widening your horizon. You're not just doing the hardcore technical work of GIS. You are doing a
Okay.
lot more managerial things. You are doing a lot more project management things. You are doing a lot more engagement with stakeholders, engagement with your clients, advising them. All right. So you're not just doing the hardcore technical work where you are building applications, building maps, but you are stepping it further where you are doing project management, you are giving advisory support, and I mean the usual consulting work. So the transition isn't really anything different. So it's just a mindset thing and an organizational structure thing. Okay. So basically
Okay.
that.
Okay. Um, so there's a question that I believe has already been answered. Someone was asking if GIS is a map, and I believe in your submission you mentioned we shouldn't limit ourselves to just creating maps and stuff, but then developing applications that can automate stuff and then do more than just an ordinary map. So I think that question has been answered there. Um,
Yes.
so
Let me just add this. The highlight for everyone should be solving problems. Okay. So always take whatever industry you find yourself, whatever sector you find yourself. Okay. If you are building GIS, always look at how is what I'm building going to solve a problem in my company or a problem for my client. Okay. So it shouldn't just,
yeah,
yes, you might be able to build an application for collecting data, for visualizing the data through a map, having some fanciful charts. Yes, that is possible. But the big question is it solving a problem? All right. Is it
all right,
solving a problem? So if you are building all these things and it's not really addressing the problem, you've still not made any change. So it's like picture yourself to be um, at a software development company where you've been given
Hello. Oh, I think we've lost Roger there. He was making a very good submission, but I think his network just dropped. We'll wait a while and see if he can reconnect back so that he can continue with the submission. But we are almost through, so I believe we just end his submission and then his final say, then we can call it a night. So let me see if I can reconnect him back on.
So apologies for that. I had some network fluctuations.
Yeah, so welcome back. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So what were we discussing?
Yeah, so you were just touching on the question of is GIS a map?
Okay. Yeah. So again, let's really look at solving problems. Okay. So we find, luckily, GIS is both. I picture it to be a component of analytics, and then a
Yeah.
component of automating business processes. Okay, so on the analytics end, providing a front for companies to generate a lot of insight, to either drive policy, to either make decisions, or to either have another advantage in the market. So that's the analytics side. So that's where your understanding of algorithms, your understanding of tools, and all that is very, very necessary. All right. The next
Okay.
point will be where you have the component of automating business processes. Okay, so again, if you find yourself in an environment where you can automate how data is collected, you can or you can provide a new ways of visualizing data, new ways of storing data, okay, new ways of integrating data, all right, new ways of standardizing data. All these things is where GIS can actually fuse. All right, so that's why I say don't let's not just limit ourselves to creating maps and then shipping the maps for the printing, on an A4 sheet and all that. It's limiting. All right.
Yeah.
So the algorithms are there, and you don't need to build them. That's a nice thing. Almost there are so many algorithms. When you go to your what do you mean? Your GitHubs, when you even QGIS is offering a lot of algorithms for free. Okay, ArcGIS, fine, you need to purchase them, but once you purchase the license, there are a lot of algorithms in there. And analytics, Charlie, you can do a lot of things there. So, I mean, both on the analytics front and automating business processes, GIS has lots of opportunities there. So let's really explore those opportunities.
Well, thank you. So my final question will be, what advice will you give to your younger self or someone who is now coming in, probably say someone from the university, a person has only taken a GIS course, but just as at your early stages you realized you wanted to go into GIS or you had interest in it. Now, say if you knew what uh, back then, what if you knew what you know today, what difference would I have made, or what would you have done differently? So just give us
Yeah,
your thought on
yeah.
that.
So for me, I mean, for me, I would have thought differently, or what I would have really focused on is really building my ability to um, engage with stakeholders, building my ability to present, building my ability to, I mean, deliver to an audience. All
Yeah.
right. Because now that is what I've been able to build now. Starting
Okay.
my career, it was a bit challenging to really stand before an audience and deliver whatever analytics I have built, whatever GIS system I've built. But I've been able to get where I am now. I can stand before any audience and deliver those presentations. So that's around presenting, around engaging with customers, engaging with people you are working with, engaging with people you are building that solution for,
Yeah.
um, and basically presentation skills. All right. We don't really put a lot of emphasis there, and that's a challenge. My observation over the years has been we put too much emphasis on the technical abilities. So someone comes out of school, the person is very good. He can build the best maps, he can build the best analytics for you, but the person can't communicate it. Okay. So
Right.
imagine you've built all your regression analysis, you have all your indicators, you have all your constants and all your mean variations and all those stuff, and you cannot communicate it properly. It doesn't make sense to anybody. All right.
No
But if you
sense
can
at all. Yeah.
communicate it, if you can communicate them and make relate them to actual problems, relate them to how they change policy, relate them to how they address general problems, whether in the health sector, whether in finance, whether in mining. If you really understand how to deliver whatever you've done to an audience, it's the best you can ever get. So
Yeah.
always it gives you an added advantage. So for those who are yet starting, for those who are still in school, let's not focus too much on the technical stuff. Yes, the technical stuff are necessary. You can code, you can build your databases, you can build your GIS systems. Fantastic. All right. But at the end of the day, can you present this to an audience? Can this make sense to an audience? Can you break it down to the simplest minimum to an audience? And if you can do this, trust me, you are on top of the game already.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you. That is great. That is indeed not focusing too much on the technical, but in other areas. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Mr. Roger. This evening has been very informative. I've been not just me, but anyone who joined in has learned a lot. And we thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We only had 1 hour and we've hit the time that we are supposed to exhaust here. So on behalf of Word Special, I would just say thank you. We hope one day, another time, on similar podcasts like this, we shall invite you and then we'll probably continue this conversation for you
Yeah.
to.
Thank you, Richmond. Thank you, the entire team of Geospatial. I think it's a
Yeah,
good initiative. Let's really keep pushing this frontier. And
right.
again, there is the know-how of GIS, the know-how of Geospatial is still very low in Ghana
Very.
and even across West Africa. Okay, so if we keep doing this, a lot more people will get to know the potential of GIS. It grows a lot more opportunities for those who are coming into the industry. So
Yeah.
kudos to the team at Square Geospatial.
Thank you for that. So, viewers, we'll end today's podcast here. We'll continue tomorrow, same time. So stay glued. We shall send a link for our next podcast. And until we meet again, stay safe and see you soon. Bye bye.
All right, bye everyone.